Chew, and welcome to Napoleon Total War. My name's General Advance, and I'm doing another commentary for you. This is a 2v2 between me, this is my army here, and my ally friend Ollie, against this unusual alliance of Britain and France. It's highly unlikely. Just going to go through the armies quickly for you. This one's Ollie over here. He has 5 units of dragoons. Not personally a fan of the just standard dragoons. They're like the light dragoons. I'm kind of like, but I'll show you them in another battle. Not a fan of these, but he uses them quite well. They're like medium cavalry. They're not particularly good on the charge. Not particularly high defense. Well, the defense is alright. Attack's alright. The charge is alright. Blah blah blah. They're quite slow. Then he has 4 units of the Silesian Schutzen. These are some of the shootiest units of the game. Got a fairly slow reload, only 60 men in the squad, but very, very accurate fire. I was going to say powerful fire then, but it's basketballs. Everything dies to one shot in this game. And he has a unit of grenadiers, which he'll use badly. Sorry, Ollie. Ollie's a very good player. He doesn't normally play Napoleon Total War. He's a big Shogun guy. He's a very, very good Total War player in general. He's got 2 units of foot guards. You can see them kind of mixed in here with kind of big white blob on their hats. Not quite sure what purpose that served, other than making them look taller. I think that was the idea of them. So standard general staff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Prussian musketeers. So he's got a fairly good core of infantry. It's a little bit thinner than most people have, but only by 20 men because he's using grenadiers instead of infantry. He's got very, very good skirmishers, not very many of them obviously. He's got a lot of cavalry, but they are meh. I'm not a fan of the cavalry, but I think probably the reason he'd be better off using something like dragoons at the moment is, like I said, he's not used to playing Napoleon Total War, and he's obviously not used to the different nuances with using more specialised cavalry. I, on the other hand, have all my crazy different random specialist cavalry. You can see my army over here. 1 unit of cuirassiers. There's 1 chevron. You can see them there. They're not quite as cool, sadly, as the French cuirassiers or other cuirassiers from other armies, but hey, they're still just as good. 1 unit of Lutzau's Freikorps. Lutzau, I don't know who Lutzau is. Someone will Google it for me. 2 units of hussars. And 1 unit of lancers. I've accidentally left my general over here, Count von Gneisenau. You can see him. I think it's this guy with the gold braided shoulder pads. Sounds probably true. We have 1 unit of Silesian Schutzen. The reason for this is they're kind of really good counter skirmishers, really good for taking out other skirmishers. 4 units of Prussian Fusiliers with 2 chevrons on each. You can see the chevrons up there. This will make them 4 more. It will give them 4 more accuracy, 2 more morale, and I think 2 more melee defense. Not that I'm particularly bothered about the melee defense because they're Fusiliers, and I couldn't care less about how good they are in melee. They're not getting into melee. I really don't want to get them into melee. And then I have a core of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 musketeers. Our opponents, like I said, playing as Britain and France. Britain has 4 units of Lightfoot skirmishers, 2 King's German Legion dragoons, a dragoon guard, and a unit of 15th Hussars. So an unusual pick. Probably wouldn't have picked the King's German Legion dragoons myself. I think they're a bit overpriced. They are very cool though. The German units in the British Army are really quite cool. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of Highland Foot, 1 unit of 88th Foot Connaught Rangers, and 1 unit of 42nd Foot, that's the Black Watch, and then just generic foot guards. And his general is a generic general staff, so he's got a pretty powerful line army there. You can see we're all using fairly balanced armies. French player, he has on this wing, he has 3 units of Chevaux Légers Lancers, 1 unit of Dragoons. You can see there's the French Dragoons. They look really cool, by the way. I'd pick French Dragoons over any other Dragoons because they look cool. And then on his flank he has 2 units of Voltigeurs and a unit of Chasseurs as well. And then he has 2 units of Fusiliers, the line. So general staff, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Young Guard. A bit of a waste of points, I personally think so. They give a morale buff to units near them, but they're not particularly good at shooting. They're worse than normal guards. He has 1 unit of Militia. I guess they're just a meat shield, which just had points over and didn't know what to buy. Don't buy Militia though, please. Just buy National Guard, because National Guard are historical. Militia are a lie. He has 2 units of Voltigeurs over here. So it looks like he's not set up properly, and then he's got 2 Chevalier Lancers here, and then this gap in the trees pretty much tells me that they have a 3rd Chevalier Lancer on there, so we've all got balanced armies, which is nice. So I'll be skipping ahead to the next part of this video. The combat starts fairly quickly, but, you know, I'll just show you in a minute. Alright, it's starting to heat up already. I've sent all of my cavalry, all of it, into this big blob here in this small area, as well as keeping my general near. Obviously I'm a little bit scared because the French have already got skirmishers and lancers up on this hill, which I'm going to repulse. First of all, however, the British cavalry has turned up. His Dragoon Guards and his King's German Legion Dragoons are the first ones in, and his Hussars and other King's German Legion Dragoons are going to go this way to fight my Hussar units. Over here I've got, like I said, my Lancers, my Cuirassiers, and my Luxembourg Freikorps. The Luxembourg Freikorps are just there as a kind of cavalry meat shield. You can see they're already getting taken up, whereas the Cuirassiers are doing just fine, and the Lancers are about to get a great charge off. There's another small attack force over here. What I'm going to do is push this unit to square, because I thought it was actually going for this unit, and what it'll mean is it'll find it slightly easier to shoot any units that go close. Ollie's cavalry, on the other hand, is all up here. You see he's managed to nullify the charge of the units that are close, because he managed to get a charge off because these voltigeurs were pretty much almost routed, you can see from their flag. He's got a lot of cavalry over here. His cavalry is probably of worse quality, but they're also better for a long engagement like this. Dragoons are quite hardy, if anything. The other thing is good about them, it's their hardiness and just how painful they are to fight. I mean, look, this cavalry, he's got a unit of Chevalier Lancers and Dragoons fighting one Prussian Dragoon, and the Prussian Dragoon is kind of just sitting here blocking, stopping them fight like this, which meant this Prussian Dragoon blob is able to pretty much win over here. Yeah, it isn't a threat of these 2 Young Guard units. Over here in the central engagement, my units obviously won, but because I had much more of them and they were better quality. Over here, one of my Hussars is routed, been wiped out. Oh no, still? Yeah, it had been routed. Sorry, I thought they were my Hussars. They're actually the 15th Hussars. You can see them with the big hats. Hear them shouting as they charge after the rest of my men. One of my Hussars is pretty close to breaking now, but as I won the main cavalry engagement, I still have Lancers and Cuirassiers ready to fight with. Accidentally put some of my units there. You can see over here, I noticed that his Chasseurs were, their only defence were more skirmishers and a unit of militia, so I just charged one of my musketeers up the hill. See, these units here are some of my musketeers, because I'm fighting in a fairly small space, so I have some reserve units that I can just send over. These 2 Prussian Fusiliers and these 3 units of musketeers I'm sending over to help kind of fight in Ollie's bit. You see here, look at this from on high. That looks like the tiniest bump in the fucking world. Look at it from down here. I can't see any of his army. So yeah, I positioned all my skirmishers here into what I thought would be a great skirmish formation to just, you know, beat him in skirmishing, because obviously my skirmishers are a lot better. Prussian Fusiliers are better than Lightfoot, which is surprising because, you know, British infantry units are just supreme. There's my Hussars, Cuirassiers and Lancers. They're the only. I've lost one of my Hussars and my Luxembourg Freikorps. He's sending his Chevalier Lancer over here and he catches my unit out of square, and you can see this unit's going to get rocked now. Oh, it's so sad as well because they're so near to my other units. But I'm going to get a volley off with these musketeers and they're going to continue charge downhill and form to square. But as I was saying here, I've sent my Hussars up just to kind of carry on moving his units out of position. I saw that a few of his units were moving, his infantry units that is, so he didn't have any protection against them, so I'd just charge in. Cause a couple of casualties. My unit was essentially useless then anyway. He's forced his skirmishers out of position, give me a little bit of a chance to shoot them. See there, I get quite a nice volley off, but because the terrain currently that I've gotten myself into, this unit is in a pretty awkward position most of the place, but the Silesian Schutzen on my right hand side, Prussian Fusilier, is not in a good position because I didn't notice, because in the battle I did not, as I normally do, go down very close to the ground to just look from the infantry's point of view. As you can see, these guys are not going to be hitting anything. My guys aren't going to be hitting him. This unit I'm going to be beating. You can see I'm already, like I said, beating it. I've lost one man in the Prussian Fusiliers there. and most of the bullets are actually going to get soaked up by my Silesian Schützen, which is a little bit stupid. Then I'll move into my Lancers. What I'm going to do is position them here, because I knew that this area would be protected. So my Lancers here, and then run them, just carry on running them straight through, because as I said, I saw this Highland Foot unit is moving already. It gives me an opportunity to charge in, whilst the line infantry unit can't unload and beat me. It does form into square, however, and whilst to do cause pretty considerable damage, because his Foot Guards and 88th Foot are going to start shooting at me. And what happens, because the terrain, and because these guys are retreating and there's squares here, even these guys are going to get hit by this fire, and you can see this light foot unit is now down to 42 men. So I've done some pretty considerable amount of damage here. Now my opponent's pretty much hill camping now. He's discovered that his position's good. Like I said, my musketeers here, I just charged into my, well, I didn't charge in, I ran a point blank up to this Volta Shores, and you're going to see me point blank just wipe out this unit and only kill 5 of them with like 60 men pointing at them. I'm going to kill 5, but they're out obviously. And then seeing that this militia unit's health, morale is so low, I'm just going to charge in with my other musketeers. And this means that we've pretty much captured this central hill, which is good. So like I said, my opponent is essentially, he's realised that he's got this hill, so I'm going to have to wrestle this hill from him. Now there are lots of ways I could do it. I should probably go all the way around here and advance up on them this way. It's probably the best way of doing it. It's not what I'm going to do in the battle, which is going to lose me a lot of men, but the French army is pretty weak, and we've got the best position. Ollie's still got, Ollie's got a great big line here. He's got this entrance here completely cut off, and this entrance, the French player, obviously, you can see how scattered his army is, because he was using so many expensive young guard units, which don't really give much use for their points cost. That is, it's not going to do too great. He's also put them in fire and advance mode. We'll talk about that. Fire and advance is bad. It's just rubbish. Don't use it. But yeah, running a bit more interference with my cuirassier. Then obviously I just end up running into a Highland Foot unit, which just doesn't go well for me. I've still got Prussian Fusiliers and Musketeers. I've put this one Musketeer unit here just in case anything tries to charge down. Ollie's got his Grenadier unit on the flank. He's going to end up hating the Grenadiers after he uses them like this. So what happens, he's going to run up with the Grenadiers. It's a good idea. So he's getting on the flank, he's trying to keep their numbers. Oh dear, he's ordered an attack order. Don't do that with Grenadiers. Over here I've positioned my Musketeers out on the flanks, and seeing that he's going to get shot in the flanks, he's decided to charge in with both the Connaught Rangers, Foot Guards and a Highland Foot. Well no, the 42nd Black Watch, so this is the best units in his army. He's decided to charge down. He really wants to win this flank, because he can see that he cannot fight on 2 flanks, because his army is so much smaller because it's British forces. I've moved my Silesian Schützen into the... I've moved one of my Prussian Fusiliers into the woods. I'm also bringing around Count von Nice now to provide morale boost. The problem is that you can see these Foot Guard units, seeing Count von Nice now so close, they're just going to charge him. I didn't notice this in the game, it was micro little things. Looking at the position of my Prussian Fusiliers and all that sort of stuff. And Gneisenau's actually going to get killed in this. You do run him back a little bit, but he is going to get killed by these units here. You can see it's ended up being a pretty fair fight at the moment, because I managed to get some pretty good volleys off with these fairly good Prussian Musketeer units. Prussians have pretty good Musketeer units. We've also got units flanking. Well, this Musketeer unit's not doing particularly well. This one is flanking, but it's doing alright. As far as the skirmish is concerned, yeah, that's what happened to the Grenadiers. They ran all the way up through like one grenade toss maybe, to even throw them, and then just died. So yeah, that didn't go too well for them. But we've secured this central hill. We've also split our opponents up, and we're managing to focus most of our units on this one guy over here. As you can see, that's my Prussian general, Count von Gneisenau, getting caught. I am doing a lot of damage to these units, and as well as the fact that he sent these units back up, he's shooting into his own men here, which is a fairly foolish idea. He is going to kill my general here. There's going to be a serious blow to my morale. It's going to give me a general morale debuff, just do some serious damage to me in general. See, I've got 2 units of Prussian Fusiliers in here. This is great use of them. I've got one of them in skirmish formation in the trees, the other behind them in the trees, out of skirmish formation, so they'll fire over their heads, they won't have enough room up. And their firepower will be slightly better, I think. However, these British units have managed to extend out pretty bloody well, so we're going to have to send units up. I'm sending my Silesian Schutzen up. No, okay, that's my musketeer. That's a Prussian Fusilier unit that has moved away from the fighting in the centre. You can see I've moved away from the fighting in the centre because I can see that my British opponent isn't going to fight in the centre, he just can't do it. So I've moved up onto the two strong points that I've got, these hill here and the hill behind me. However, I've got Fusiliers at the line that have moved up. You can see the fire in advance mode is really causing problems because it's very unwieldy and it doesn't react very well with non-grassy flatland sort of terrain. So I've just turned around my musketeer unit very quickly and already done almost 20 casualties. This Fusilier at the line, the Fusilier at the line hasn't fired at me yet. I had lost some health before, but you can see they've not fired at me yet. I don't know, yeah, that's their first volley. You got like 4 guys. And then I turn around both my Silesian Schutzen and my Prussian Fusiliers, and I'm just going to unload into this unit. You can see, look how quickly these guys are dying. All these dead bodies on the floor already. These platoons, like these platoons have so many gaps between them. So yeah, I've moved units away from the centre to support the units over here. I've rushed back my Prussian Fusiliers into these hill positions again. I've got Prussian Fusiliers all over the place doing loads of damage. Prussian Fusiliers really are the most important units in this. The Grenadiers have come back. They're going to go for a second round. He's not used to using Grenadiers, I don't think, he's just not. Or if he's used any sort of equivalent unit in Shogun, they're a lot better, they're a lot easier to use, and obviously there's a lot less muskets. And you can see this flanking force was so thin because the assault it had already done. One of his units was routed, the other is at half strength, and that's his Black Watch unit, so that's very valuable. He's still got a very strong hill position here with 4 units. One of them's pretty badly wounded, the others are pretty much okay, one's 20, but that's not a big deal. He's still got Lightfoot units, but his Lightfoot's sort of taken some pretty considerable casualties. It's mostly due to the skirmishes that I've had. Over here, again, the French aren't doing anything, and I've totally wiped out the units that were on this hill. They've just fallen back. They weren't able to cope with the fact that I had like 3 units there firing on 2 of which were skirmishers that are very good. Silesian Schutzen and upgraded Prussian Fusiliers are very good, as well as my good musketeer units. It's better than his Fusiliers, and the fact that he was in fire and advance formation, which is not very good. So here I'm using my range. All these Grenadiers have finally got up. He's not managed to throw any grenades yet, and he's run out of people, and they've run off and died. So those Grenadiers really were a waste of points, 850 points for just no reason. Now we've got Foot Guard, you can see we've got all our units coming in. Ollie's sending up his Silesian Schutzen. I've got Musketeers, Foot Guards, Prussian Fusiliers. The Musketeers are the Foot Guards are Ollie's. Here my Prussian Fusiliers and Silesian Schutzen. I'm attempting to try and get some long range shots on him here, but I think my Silesian Schutzen is out of ammo by this point. Been firing for quite a while. They've got alright reload rate, but I don't know what you'd call it. I probably couldn't reload a musket as fast as these guys do, so you know. But they've been firing the whole game basically, these guys. And, you know, over here, this Foot Guard is going to take on a half strength Black Watch. Black Watch is going to do some considerable damage to it because it's the Black Watch unit. That's what they do. And he's going to take a last-ditch attempt here. He's going to try and charge us off the hill. Like I said, Ollie's just holding a defence here. This is really a problem. He threw away all his skirmishers, this guy, right at the start. Put them in bad positions. And Ollie just has such good skirmishers. I mean, look, that Lancer unit just got down to 10 before it even got into, like, infantry range. I mean, not that the charge would have been worth anything. Yeah. Am I out of... No, I'm not out of ammo for the my Silesian Schutzen. Yes, because I remember I ended up using them. Yeah, I'm very low on ammo, though. Now, at this point, I have actually discovered the divot. This kind of hill, and this divot here, and how good it is. So I'm using a reverse slope defence with this Prussian Fusiliers. I've got it off fire at will, and I'm just letting him waste lead into this, just lead lining this there's so much lead that's gone into this this hill here, and yeah, the foot guards, like I said, they're taking a pretty big battering considering they've only had a half-strength Black Watch to deal with. I think that really is a testament to just how good the British elite units are, even British standard units. This Highland foot, just, you know, it'll fight pretty well. But I've got so many really good skirmishers now. Ollie's sent up. I've got 2 Prussian Fusiliers in the area. Ollie's got 2 Silesian Schutzen. On the left-hand side, I've got all his units. He really is screwed. Here I'm walking up my Silesian Schutzen, just trying to draw his fire, because this is pretty much the end game for this guy. The Highland foot unit here is going to go for an uphill charge. We get some good shots off. I get some good shots off with my musketeers, but it's not going to be enough. This foot guard's not going to be able to beat this Highland foot. Highland foot are specifically for fighting in melee combat. They really are pretty good at it. And you can see this foot guard's completely, definitively losing. It's doing a lot of damage though, because you know, it's an elite foot guard unit, and I'm firing into the sides of them, doing damage to both sides, probably more the Highlanders when you just look at because you know, the Highlander line was a lot larger, so it's a lot easier to hit. But the foot guard's going to break here in a couple of seconds, and the Highland foot are going to try and come after me, but they're only at 58 men. They're losing pretty badly. And here, I managed to bait his general, and his general just goes for me, ends up biting it. You can see my general died there. He ends up getting routed, not killed sadly for me. No, he doesn't get routed, he just runs through, he carries on going through, he goes through my Prussian Fusiliers, does a bit of damage to them. There's a bit of damage to the Silesian Schutzen as well. He's just kind of running rampant now, but you know, he's eventually, there's only 4 of them, they're not particularly great cavalry. They are a general's unit, usually that Silesian Schutzen found out that despite them not being particularly great cavalry, they can still do some pretty painful things to people. Same happened to that Silesian Schutzen, but they are going to end up dying, and you see I've formed my Prussian Fusilier into its standard formation here, and turned them to the position where they can fire on the general staff. This makes their firepower a lot better, and I wiped him out there. Completely just killed his unit. Probably killed a couple of Silesian Schutzen, but fuck it. I charged my Prussian Fusilier in because it is out of ammo now. And now I've got my musketeer versus his Highland foot. This is a stupid micro mistake, look at that. Like, I've only got 1 unit left. My unit is better at shooting. I've only got like, now I'm a lot less men, but I just shot him. I had the better ground as well. But no, I'm going to get charged by this unit here and lose that, which is a little bit stupid. But now I'm just consolidating my forces. I've lost quite a lot of my units, but Ollie still has his army intact. The French army has lost all its skirmishers. It's only going to be on guard. They're trying to assault the hill at the moment here, and you can see this is the problem that the fire and advance formation is doing here. They can't get into position very quickly. It's quite wide. You can see it's got a lot larger spacing, obviously, because people need to run through the gaps. And they are doing a lot of damage, you know, no doubt. 20 kills to a musketeer unit in a couple of seconds is pretty alright, but musketeers already have better hill position. He's just not going to be alright. He's just not going to win this. And there's my my routed Silesian Schutzen. He has come back, and I've decided to stand around here, take some pot shots at some young guards, because that's all there is left now. Apart from this Highland foot that keeps on going after units over here, it's gone after one of Ollie's Silesian Schutzen here. It's going to end up routing that unit, but this Highland foot's going to die, so I'm going to do everything I can to kill it. I've only got 3 units left now, because I've been in the majority of the fighting in this. I did, you know, I took out the French skirmishers, I took out the British skirmishers, took out the British line, took out the British infantry. There is a Highland foot unit here as well. I guess he just forgot about this unit as it came back from routing, but he's never going to use it for anything, I don't think. Or if he does, I'm just going to ignore it, because I know as soon as I route this Highland foot unit, which is the one I'm going for, the other one will just route, it will just chain route, because there is the only unit left on the field, and it just can't cope. It'll cry, it'll run home crying. That's my Prussian Fusiliers, my musketeer units there. Yeah, you can see they're trying to charge, and they're wavering, even though they're fresh, and they've got 40 men. and these guys are good morale as well. Because this Highland Foot unit is charged in, it's going to lose in melee combat to Silesian Schützen eventually. I believe it is. I can't remember. I think it might actually wipe out the Silesian Schützen, but I'm going to turn up on the backside with 2 units of Prussian Fusiliers and a musketeer and just own it. You can see these units are still fairly healthy, given that I've been through a battle with them that was very hard, and I took out the skirmishers from my enemy. My allies' opponent anyway. And here's some unusual formations. The Young Guard having a little bit of a laugh here. They thought they'd go with the I don't know what you even call that symbol. It was a lambda, swim that way up, I don't know. Either way, it's a stupid thing. But this is pretty much the end of the battle. Yeah, you can see got my skirmishers in, and the guy is gonna go back, so I'm gonna put it on a little bit fast forward. Is that gonna work? Sometimes it doesn't work with fraps. You can see it end up having a terrible frame rate when I do that, because fraps and fast forward in this game do not go very well together. But it doesn't really matter, because I'm looking at things from very, very far away, and you're just seeing kind of the advance. Let me move to here. You're just seeing the advance of the French player. He's totally surrounded now. He's only got Young Guard units left. We're actually charging him with Silesian Schützen, and you can see there in the centre, just much morale damage as we can. And this Young Guard is taking on my 3 units. Ollie's units are all just charging now, just going after him. He pops this rally there for pretty much no reason. He's going to charge his general staff in, and that's pretty much the end of the game there. I'll just let it continue on until the very end. See, that's both the enemy generals dead, as well as my general. Silly me. I've actually got one of my Prussian Fusiliers up to his 3-star rank there, 3 chevron rank, and that's pretty much the end of the game there. So you can see I deployed 1,623, my kills 1,203, I think that probably reflects just the position I was in, fighting more enemies. Oh no, that was my losses. I killed 1,356, it's the most in the game. That's just the position that I was in. I took the initiative against the enemy skirmishers when they were in a bad position, only supported by militia, and I was the one eventually who basically just beat GDA Cake, who was the British player, off of the mountain. Ollie deployed 1,413, because he had more expensive units basically, and the units that had less men in. I was using Prussian Fusiliers, he's using Silesian Schützen. The big gap there in numbers, 30 each. He only lost 876, still a lot when you think about it, but you know, this is war, people, get used to it. Killed 1,047, because he's a good player and he does that. You can see his kill-death ratio is definitely better than mine. GDA Cake deployed 1,638. It's a fairly large army for a British army, but very, very powerful. Lost 1,378 and killed 1,289. He did pretty well there, and he's pretty much let down by his ally Rico here, who deployed 1,503. It's a fairly small number, mostly because of the Young Guard. Did have some fairly cheapish cavalry and a lot of the cheap French skirmishers, because French just have very cheap skirmishers in this game. He lost 1,177 and killed 623. It's basically just chain routed at the end there. So thanks for watching. This has been a good game. Goodbye.